For this problem, we're going to find the derivative of inverse cosecant of x. Let's start by writing this as y equals inverse cosecant of x. Let's apply the cosecant function to both sides of this equation. Notice here that these two cancel each other, so we're just left with cosine secant of y on the left hand side equals x on the right hand side. Now, at this point, what we're going to want to go ahead and do is differentiate both sides of this equation with respect to x. Let's just go ahead and do that up here. Notice here we have a function in terms of y, and we're differentiating with respect to x. So we're going to have to differentiate this function implicitly. So we're going to have minus cotangent of y multiplied by cosecant of y multiplied by dy over dx. And this is going to be equal to 1, as the derivative of x with respect to x is just 1. Now, let's divide both sides of this equation by minus cotangent of y times cosecant of y. So we're going to have dy over dx equals minus 1 over cotangent of y times cosecant of y. And we've just moved this negative sign up here, in case anyone's confused about this here. So at this point, we're going to want to introduce the following identity: cosine squared of y plus sine squared of y. You may have seen this identity in terms of x's instead of y's. The reason is because we have y's as our independent variable in our problem. Let's go ahead and divide everything by sine squared of y. We'll just have cotangent squared of y here, plus 1 equals cosecant of y squared here. Now let's go ahead and solve for cotangent squared of y. So all I've done is subtracted 1 from both sides of this equation and then taken the square root of both sides. This is going to allow us to substitute this value here into the equation up here for cotangent of y. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to have dy over dx equals minus 1 over cosecant of y times the square root of cosecant squared of y minus 1. Now, remember up here we wrote that cosecant of y is equal to x, so we can let this equal x. And if we were to actually square both sides of that equation, we would have this. So that tells us that we can substitute in x squared for cosecant squared of y. We then have dy over dx equals minus 1 all over x times the square root of x squared and minus 1. And that's the answer to our problem.